G'day, welcome to Board Game Backers from Liberty Guild Gaming. Today we're going to have a look at Boss Monster, a game that was crowdfunded back in 2014, which from Brotherwise Games. And we'll have a look at some of the components, see how the gameplay plays, and at the end of it we'll have a look at my final thoughts of the game. So if you have not heard about Boss Monster, it's a deck style game. Falling over. It's a standalone card game that challenges 2 to 4 players to become video game style villains and build deadly side-scrolling dungeons. Players compete to see who can lure and destroy the most adventurers. But beware, you must make your dungeons as deadly as it is attractive. Otherwise, these puny humans might actually kill you rather than you taking their souls. Are you bad enough to create a dungeon that's enough to take the souls of humans, heroes? And yeah, if you accumulate 10 souls, you win. But however, if you take in 5 wounds, you lose. You start the game with a couple of very simple heroes, and then as the game progresses, you get what is the epic heroes, which are likely to deal you 2 wounds rather than 1. But I'm kind of getting a bit ahead of myself here. So we're going to have a look at some of the components and the gameplay. So talk to you real soon. Okay, here we have the Boss Monster card game, and these are the instructions. They read fairly straightforward. Plenty of examples of how to play the game. Loving the retro graphics, and this is what the Brotherwise Games Boss Monster is known for. So fairly straightforward to read. It comes very across very personable, and then obviously you got your quick reference guide on the back, quick start guide. So, and the golden rule of instructions, which I absolutely do love, is the fact that the last page isn't just about giving people the credit where credit's due. It actually gives you a nice little quick little reference sheet here as well. So if you're quite familiar with the game, that is all that you need. Inside we do have your basic sort of card stock. Very nice finish to them. You got your room deck over here for your dungeons, which has the hit points, and also over here the treasures. And you've got your bosses, and you got your XP over here, which just helps with the turn order of the game. Then we've also got some spells here. And the spells have these little symbols down here. So if it's a hammer, you can play the spell during your build phase. If it's an axe, it's something you play during the adventure phase of the game. And sometimes you might be lucky enough to get a spell that will have 2 of the logos on it. But in this case, I do not have one in here, as I was showing you, but they're in there. And then you've also got your heroes. So these are your soul counts over here. There you go, and that's their health points over here. Quick little bio. Doesn't really have any significant impact on the game. And this is the treasure at the top left-hand corner here that they're attracted to when you're building your dungeon. If you have more money bags than another opponent, then this little thief here will come to your dungeon. You just hope that you've got that your rooms are bad enough to actually take them out at 8 health. And these figures down here let you know the player count. If you're playing with 4 players, utilize these cards here. As you play with the epic characters, they are then also worth 2 souls at the base, but they also have a stronger health point at the end. So you play through the basic heroes first before the epic heroes come into play. So in terms of components, the tray here, everything fits quite comfortably. I'm quite pleased considering I bought this on the marketplace, and it's over 10 years old and it still is holding the test of time. So thanks for having a look at the components. It's quite solid. The instructions read quite well, and we'll have a quick squiz at the gameplay, and we'll shoot up and give you my final thoughts. Talk soon. Okay, so the basic game of Boss Monster as you play out here is what they consider your town, where your heroes come and visit. So we draw 2 heroes at the start of the game. Prior before doing this though, we draw 5 cards. 2, 3, 4, and 5 room cards, and we also draw 2 spell cards. We have a look at our cards. We remove 2 of these cards, put them in the discard pile, draw a card as we start the round when the heroes come out. So this is the boss that I've got here is Draco Lord, and he is attracted by clerics. He's also got XP, helps determine the order of play, since we're only just playing solo player at this stage. And the game doesn't play solo, by the way. This is just as a tutorial. And you look at your hand, and looking at the characters here, we have a mage. Mages are attracted by these spell books over here, with a hit point here, and we've also got our clerics. So if I have the most clerics on the board, he is likely to come to me with a score of 6 points. We simply choose the dungeon of our choosing, place it on the board, and in this case I've got another cleric that I just picked out randomly, so unfortunately, and I've also got a mage book. So if no other player on the table has either the spell book or the cleric cross, then these heroes here will come through my dungeon, and clearly I don't have enough to actually sort of hurt him, so he's going to cause me 1 wound over here. And so does he. He comes into my dungeon, causes me another wound. You attract 5 wounds, you do lose the game. However, as you start playing the game, your dungeon starts getting bigger. You can only build out 5 rooms. Once you've done this, you can activate your once only level up ability at the base of this card. However, even though you've only got 5 rooms, you can build on top of rooms. So basic rooms, or grabbing things from the hero deck, basic rooms can build on any room on the table. However, advanced rooms, such as these here, clearly on the top here is advanced, can only build on rooms that have the matching treasure icon. And then I can upgrade that room. And that's how you can consistently stay with your 5 dungeon rooms. You can upgrade upwards. Basic rooms can build on top of basic rooms. Advanced rooms need to have the matching treasure token in order to build up. And as your dungeon gets stronger and better, let's have a look at this hero here. He's got a health point of 8. He's attracted to books. I now have, just by sheer luck, 1, 2, 3, 4 books, and my imaginary opponent has only 2. So this mage here comes to my dungeon. He takes on 2 damage, which brings him to 6, 0 damage there, takes 3 damage, and on this advanced room here, takes a final 3 damage, and he dies. Oh, in this case, I'll take his soul of 1. Collect 10 souls at the end of the game, you win. And I hope that's a fairly straightforward tutorial for you, and let's go straight to the top and let you know what my thoughts are. Talk to you soon. Oh, and just a minor note too, just keep in mind that each of these dungeon rooms do actually have special abilities that you just got to keep in mind of. In my quick little review that I'm about to share with you very soon, I played with my 5-year-old son, and we scrapped the special abilities and just focused on, and I'm just getting ahead of myself, so let's go upstairs and have a quick chat. So that was just a very brief tutorial about how Boss Monster is played. It's not a solo game. It is a game that plays 2 to 5 players, 2 to 6 players if you get some of the expansions like the Crash Landing. However, they did have a Kickstarter earlier on in the year called Super Boss Monster. So that is going to come up with a big playmat, with a town, and that does come with a solo variant in the game itself. However, as this game stands, it is a 2 to 6 player game, depending if you got the expansion, otherwise 2 to 4. And the way that I've played this game with my 5-year-old son, he's not up to the capacity where he can actually sort of read some of these cards down the bottom here. However, he is familiar with this mass, so when he grabs a hero, he understands that this hero is health point 4, and this mage is attracted to books. So if he doesn't have a dungeon that is sufficient enough to beat this hero, he will try to cover up his mage books, or just don't put any out. And hopefully they'll come to me. However, if he does have the capacity to beat this hero, he knows to actually grab dungeon rooms with mage books in order to attract and lure that hero to him. And then as he travels through the dungeon, he does his own subtraction. He goes into a room with a hero of 6, and this dungeon room does 2 damage. He knows to go 6 minus 2 is actually 4. And then he works his way through the dungeon room until he gets to the boss monster, and if he was sufficient enough to actually beat the hero, he takes the soul. If not, he takes a wound. And that's the kind of game that we've been sort of playing. We did introduce spells with our 3rd sort of playthrough, and he just asked for me to read what the spell does, and then he would choose when it's played. And good thing about the spells, they tell you when it's played, either during the building phase or the adventure phase of the game, which I did miss in the tutorial. The game is broken up into 4 phases. One is called the build phase, and then you got the bait phase. That's about playing your cards from your hand into the dungeon in order to lure the adventurers to your dungeon or not lure them. And then you got the adventure phase. So when the adventurer is lured to a dungeon, he goes through each of the dungeon rooms and see if he is successful. That is what you call the dungeon phase. And then you got the end of turn. And to determine if you've got the 10 souls to win or you've accumulated too many wounds and you lose. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea. And if you've got a 5-year-old, it's a great tool to use to teach them about maths, and it's fun. It uses these sort of retro type graphics, and these are cool. Like, I absolutely love these sort of type graphics. It's what I grew up with. Haven't had an opportunity to play with some adults yet and see how the individual rooms play out. I have, but not enough to actually give an opinion. At this stage, I do enjoy the game. It is a small package. It plays really well. I have backed the Super Boss Monster, and I didn't want to buy all the expansions that came with it. So I thought I'll go onto the marketplace and see if I can find them cheaper. So I've got Boss Monster 1, Boss Monster 2, and I've got 2 of the expansions, the Crash Landing, the 5 to 6 player expansion, and the Tools of Destruction or something. It's when you can actually give heroes items. That gives them a bit of a special ability. If you're able to beat them, then you get a special ability because of it. So I hope you found this all helpful, and thanks so very much for listening, and talk to you all soon. Stay safe, play well, and thank you.